even though the official trailer for her is out tomorrow, we can already see her kit here in the next Mystic Summon lineup. We'll be taking a look at the general basics of it. There's a lot of stuff that we won't be able to tell until the trailer actually comes out, just because her kit's got some pretty interesting stuff. I will say that they put Euphine as the 5-star unit, and then Time Matter as the 5-star artifact on her first rotation, and this is the funniest possible combo they could have went with, just because of how much she tortures Euphine in the story, and then Time Matter because of her time-related powers. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at her skills. First up, her imprints: Team Defense for the front and bottom, and then F-Res for self-imprint. At the start of combat, via her S2, you give everybody crit res buff. This is basically Navy Captain Landy's passive, but you'll notice that she also gives herself crit res buff, so it's unique here where she does affect herself. One thing is this means that we have another unit for buff stacking. Before, the units were Navy Captain Landy and Leah. The Leah had... not Leah. Is it? Yeah, it is Leah. But Leah had really specific conditions for her activation. Rose is probably better just because... or better than Landy just because hers actually affects herself. And then she also gives herself, upon dying, revives with 50% health. This is not a buff. This is a passive, so you can seal this, the revive effect. It's not like the rolls where you can't seal it, but she is vulnerable to extinction, of course, and the revive itself has a 5-turn cooldown. So basically, you're only getting this off once in a fight, pretty much, and a lot of her kit kind of lends itself to that. So, on her S3, this is an SA. Basically, she has two S3s. The first S3 is a bit weaker, and the second one is stronger. The first one dispels all debuffs from all allies, and then recovers HP before granting a barrier. And then it also basically gives this unique effect, which the unique effect literally just says your next S3 is going to be stronger. And it remains after reviving, so this synergizes with her S2. If you press S3 and then somebody kills her and she revives, she'll still have the buff to enhance her next one. Now, the enhanced S3 grants time reversal to all allies except for the caster, and then grants a barrier proportional to the caster's max HP to all allies except for the caster for 2 turns. So, her kit is, notably, on the first cast, it decreases skill cooldown by 2 turns. So, it's basically a 2-turn cooldown on the first cast, and then a full 4-turn cooldown on the second one. This is very much intended so that you press the first S3 and your next one is coming up right afterwards, because her S1 has a Soulburn extra turn. So you would do something like this, use it, 2-turn decrease, Soulburn once, get your extra turn, and your second S3 is back up. You can't see the cooldowns here in the preview, but that's how it would work. And then her S1, besides giving her an extra turn, also gives her stealth, so this makes her a bit harder to target. I would say primarily it's when you don't have the souls for the extra turn, because if you extra turn and then you S3, your stealth is wearing off anyways, so this basically just makes it a bit harder to target her if you didn't have the 20 souls to extra turn and immediately S3 again. Also, if you are managing to loop around to do a second, or I guess a third S3, the stealth would protect her a little bit as well. She doesn't have any sort of barrier besides her S3. So after you use S3, that's when you get the barrier to get a bit of, to help protect your stealth, which is nice. Now, we have to talk about time reversal, because this is the interesting one. It says, returns to the state after the start of battle only applied in PvP. Now, this is what I mean when I say there's a lot that we can't necessarily tell about her kit yet, just because we need to see how it interacts with things like, so here, this guy's got buffs, and I'll use it here. So at the start of combat, he didn't have a barrier, but at no point do you see that barrier go away, so it didn't remove the barrier from him, but it did also give him a barrier at the end of turn. Maybe the barrier coming at the end of turn happened at the same time as the reversal. So we need to know, how does this interact with buffs? How does this interact with debuffs? How does this interact with passives? Because notably, passives have never been able to have their skill cooldowns increased or decreased. So if this can give people passive effects back, that would be really strong. I'm expecting it. I'm kind of expecting it not to, just because of how like passives never had their Is it those passives like traditionally, like you can't Asaria S3 them or S2 them, you can't Abraham S3 passives. But maybe just because it's saying it reverts everything to the start of battle, it does. The other question is artifact effects. There's a lot of artifacts that can only proc like once per battle or something, or the cooldowns on artifacts. If it resets those or not is something worth looking at. As for her class, she is a Soul Weaver, so you can give her some artifacts. I think you would probably be giving her sustained artifacts or something. You can't give her, what is it? You can't give her night artifacts, so no Arius or anything. So you do have a kind of incentive to keep her alive. Guardian Ice Crystals or the Copy Cure All Magic Wand is probably going to be a good old classic. If she gets focused a lot, maybe Water's Origin. So maybe the crit res makes it so you don't proc it, but if you do take a lot of your HP, Water's Origin could be okay. I feel like these days, especially something like if Bystander Huayan kicks you, the 20% isn't going to save you that well. And then I do want to say I love her S3. The first one, this is just her S2 animation. Yeah, I think she looks so awkward standing like this. Because this isn't the usual pose that she has, but she doesn't have like an actual shield. She just kind of looks like she's standing there. But her S3 is literally just made in heaven. It looks so good. Very, very nice time reversal animation they gave her there with the whole heavens moving in the background. So I think this unit definitely has one of the most interesting kits we've seen in a while. Time reversal, completely new effect. This skill name is also funny, once in a lifetime research. Though she definitely seems like a kind of like a, I would say more or less a one and done unit. Like all of her stuff is happening within 3 turns. There's definitely a big incentive for people to target her just because you want to try and kill her maybe before the time reversal goes off, but there's a lot of things that could be happening, right? We also need to know if this reverts injury or not. You won't be able to prevent the enemy from doing anything, so like if the enemy is stacking a bunch of stuff, you won't be able to revert that. It only affects your own allies. But what about your own stuff? Like what if you are stacking on... Who is the unit that stacks stuff? I guess Schneel. Schneel S3, I don't know why I'm thinking of Schneel, but Schneel S3 stacks based on the... like how many times he's casted his S3. So does she revert that too? Or like other passive stacks? Like I guess Commander Lorena, who you'll never see in PvP, but Commander Lorena S2 is another question we need to look at. So we'll find out a lot on the actual preview itself on Friday, but this is just a basic look at her kit.